Have you ever looked at a woman living alone, no boyfriend, no partner, not even seeming to search for one, and wondered what her story is? Society might whisper that she's lonely, too picky, or nursing a broken heart. But what if the truth is far more powerful? What if she's not missing anything at all? These women aren't lost. They're finding themselves. They're rewriting the rules of what it means to be whole, choosing a path that's not about lack, but about strength, clarity, and a kind of freedom most people can only dream of. This isn't a story of absence, it's a story of presence, of women who have learned to love themselves so deeply that they refuse to settle for less than they deserve. Let's dive into the truth about these women and discover what their journey can teach us all about living authentically. When you picture a woman living alone, what comes to mind? Maybe you imagine someone waiting for the right person to complete her, but the reality is far different. These women aren't sitting around hoping for a fairy tale. They've chosen to live alone because they're prioritizing something bigger, themselves. This isn't about rejecting love or relationships, it's about refusing to let those things define their worth. They've looked at the world's expectations, the pressure to pair up, to prove their value through a partner, and said, no thank you. Instead, they're carving out a space to understand who they are, what they want, and what truly makes them feel alive. Society often paints single women as incomplete, as if a relationship is the missing puzzle piece. But these women see through that myth. They know that happiness doesn't come from someone else, it starts within. They're not running from love, they're running toward a deeper connection with themselves. Think about it. How many times have you felt the pressure to be with someone just to feel normal? These women have felt that too, but they've chosen a different path, one where they get to decide what matters most. They're not waiting for permission to live fully. They're already doing it. Take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt that urge to prove your worth through a relationship? What would it feel like to let that go and choose yourself instead? Women who live alone radiate a quiet, unshakable strength. It's not the loud, flashy kind of strength that demands attention. It's deeper, rooted in self-awareness and courage. These women have taken the time to look inward, to face the parts of themselves that others might avoid. They've sat with their fears, their past hurts, the moments they gave too much or loved too hard. And in that silence, they found something extraordinary, themselves. This strength shows up in how they live. They're not afraid to say no to relationships that don't honor their worth. They don't chase shallow connections or beg for attention. They choose presence over pretense. They've learned to trust their instincts, to walk away from anything that feels less than authentic. This isn't arrogance, it's clarity. It's the kind of clarity that comes from years of learning what truly matters. They might spend their evenings painting, writing, gardening, or simply savoring a quiet cup of coffee, not because they're lonely, but because they've discovered the joy of their own company. Their independence also means they're not afraid to dream big. Without the need to mold themselves to someone else's expectations, they're free to pursue their passions, build their careers, or nurture friendships that light up their souls. They're not just surviving, they're thriving. They've built lives that reflect who they are, not who the world thinks they should be. Ask yourself, when do you feel most free? What's one thing you do alone that makes you feel truly alive? Choosing to live alone isn't always easy. These women aren't superheroes, they're human, and their path comes with real challenges. Society can be relentless, bombarding them with questions like, when are you getting married? Or, don't you want someone to share your life with? Friends and family might mean well, but their words can sting, planting seeds of doubt. There are moments when these women wonder if they're doing the right thing, if they're too picky or destined to be alone forever. Those thoughts creep in, especially on quiet nights when the world feels heavy. Then there's the practical side. Living alone often means shouldering everything: bills, decisions, the ups and downs of life without a partner to lean on. It takes financial independence, emotional resilience, and a whole lot of courage to keep going. And yes, there are days when loneliness sneaks in. They might miss the warmth of a hug, the comfort of shared laughter, or the idea of someone to come home to. But here's what sets them apart. They don't let those moments define them. Instead, they use them as opportunities to grow, to learn, to dig deeper into what makes them whole. These challenges don't weaken them, they make them stronger. Each time they face judgment, doubt, or loneliness, they come out with a clearer sense of who they are. They've learned that being alone doesn't mean being empty. It means having the space to build a life that's truly theirs. Reflect for a moment. Have you ever faced a moment of doubt or pressure that pushed you to grow? How did it shape who you are today? These women haven't given up on love, they've redefined it. They don't want a love that fills a void or fixes them, because they've already done the work to feel whole. They're not looking for someone to complete them like a puzzle missing a piece. Instead, they want a partner who adds to their life, someone who sees them fully, their strengths, their flaws, their dreams, and chooses to walk alongside them without trying to change them. For them, love isn't about dependency or sacrifice. It's about mutual respect, shared growth, and a connection that feels like coming home. They want someone who shows up with honesty, not empty promises or rehearsed charm. They've learned to spot the difference between performance and presence, and they won't settle for less. Imagine a relationship where both people are free to be themselves. No masks, no games, just two souls choosing each other every day. That's the kind of love they're holding out for. This doesn't mean they're chasing perfection. They know no one is perfect, but they believe in something better, a love that doesn't demand they shrink or dim their light. Until that comes along, they're happy to keep growing, to keep loving themselves fiercely. They've learned that the most important relationship is the one they have with themselves, and that's the foundation for everything else. Pause and think. What does love mean to you? Are you giving yourself the same kind of love you hope to receive from others? Women who live alone without a man aren't just living for themselves. They're changing the world around them. Their presence is a quiet revolution, challenging the idea that a woman's worth depends on having a partner. They show us that happiness isn't something you find in someone else. It's something you create within. Their confidence, their clarity, their unapologetic choice to live authentically, it's like a ripple in a pond, touching everyone who crosses their path. When you meet a woman like this, you can feel it. There's something different about her. A calm strength, a spark in her eyes, a sense that she's at peace with who she is. She doesn't need to shout to be heard. Her presence speaks louder than words. She inspires others to question the rules they've been taught, to wonder if they too could choose themselves first. She's a reminder that you don't need someone else to feel complete. You are enough, just as you are. This impact isn't just for women. Men too can learn from her example. Her strength invites everyone to look inward, to ask what truly matters to them, to let go of the need for external validation. She's proof that living authentically is the most powerful way to live, and her courage lights the way for others to do the same. Think about someone in your life who inspires you to be yourself. What is it about them that makes you want to live more fully? The truth about women who live alone without a man is that they're not missing anything. They're embracing everything. They've chosen a path that's not always easy, but it's theirs. They've faced the world's judgment, their own doubts, and the weight of loneliness, and they've come out stronger, wiser, and more whole. They're not waiting for a prince or a fairy tale. They're writing their own story, one where they are the hero, the author, and the home they return to. Their journey teaches us all something profound. The greatest love story starts with you. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or somewhere in between, their example invites you to look within. What makes you feel alive? What dreams have you put on hold to please others? What would it look like to choose yourself, even just for a moment? These women remind us that living authentically isn't about being perfect. It's about real. It's about showing up for yourself day after day, even when it's hard. So take a moment to reflect. What's one small way you can choose yourself today? Maybe it's saying no to something that doesn't feel right.
Maybe it's spending an evening doing something you love, just because it makes you happy. Whatever it is, let these women inspire you to live a little more boldly, a little more truly. Their path isn't about being alone, it's about being whole, and that's a truth worth celebrating. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Let's spread the message that choosing yourself is never a mistake. It's the beginning of everything. Because when you live as your truest self, you don't just change your own life, you light the way for others to do the same.